the revolution is coming to you now. It's coming to you now. You're witnessing an evolution. And they'll never bring us down. No, they'll never bring us down. Get ready for the revolution. It's coming to you now. It's coming to you now. You're witnessing an evolution. And they'll never bring us down. No, they'll never bring us
Good morning, everyone. Hope the day is beautiful for you. It's around 9 a.m. on Friday morning in Australia, and I know it's probably around 6 p.m. on Thursday evening in the US, central part of USA. I'm so glad that you've joining me live today, and we are about to talk about one of my favorite topics today, and one that's actually really contributed to a lot of growth in this business right now that I'm in, and one that we've helped a lot of our students go through and get amazing results from. And you would have just heard our beautiful Jane Kilsby 2 shows ago actually talking about her results. So you've probably guessed it. The topic is all about Facebook ads, and we have our literal queen of Facebook ads. Not just Facebook, by the way. She's a pretty crack marketer. Talia Brown from Violet Bear Marketing with us today. Welcome, Talia.
Thanks, Mel. How's it going?
Good. Now, I think we're in about week 9 or week 10 of lockdown, or have you lost count?
Oh, yeah, I've lost count. Lockdown number 6, who knows? It's never ending.
Talia and we love hanging out together and co-working, and I think we're both ready to do a road trip to somewhere sunny north when we get out of this.
Definitely. Yep.
So, darling lady, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much. And there's so much love for you in our community from, some of our beautiful, beautiful students that you've just really helped get great results. So before we jump into that, I want you to tell us a little bit about you and your journey, and fill us in.
Sure. So I have always I guess I've always kind of had the entrepreneurial spirit. Like even at a young age, I was like washing cars, and I wrote this email actually telling the story of a woman. I washed her car and she came out and she was really lovely, but she was like circling the car and like pointing out spots I'd missed. And I said in the email, it was the first time I'd ever received feedback about my work. And instead of being, like upset about it, I was like, oh yeah, awesome. Thanks. I was like, this is great. She's like telling me where the holes are in my work. And I was like getting all the pieces, because I was like, if I do a good job, I can come back next month and wash her car again. And that's what I was thinking. And I was like, what a great lesson from such a young age. And I was doing anything I could to earn money when I was a kid. And I never wanted to be told what to do. I always wanted to work for myself. So I was always like trying that side hustle. I did have a lot of like regular jobs for a lot of years. And I wanted to travel for a lot of years. I was a musician actually. And so I couldn't travel because I was in bands. So I was like being in a relationship with a lot of people. And eventually I broke up with my partner, and then I broke up with my band, and then I was like, I need to get out of here. I just need to get out of Australia.
A lot of breakups at once.
A lot of breakups. And then I started, I broke up with my band so I could travel. And then, and it was great. I really needed to travel, but I didn't have any money. So I needed to earn money on the road. So as I went, I got a work visa and I went to Canada. And then all the time I was working in Canada at a regular job, and I couldn't do my job that I was trained for in Australia because my qualification didn't transfer to Canada. Yep. So I had to just like wait tables again. And I told myself I was never going to do that job again because I hated it. But there I was. And I was like, okay, all the time doing side hustle. And then I really wanted to leave Canada. I was ready to go. I was just ready to get out of there. And I got a job working for $15 an hour. And I flew to Thailand, and I lived in Chiang Mai in Thailand for 4 months, and I just hustled. And I could live off that. I was living off $1,000 a month in northern Thailand. And that's where I really kind of schooled myself. I just immersed myself in everything I could. And I had already done stuff, like dabbled and stuff before that, but I just really knuckled down and worked my butt off for those 4 months. And I met this whole community of digital nomads, and it was just an incredible experience. And then I built my business. I got into marketing, and this woman took a chance on me. And then she gave me some really great opportunities in her business. And I actually got up to temporary CEO for a while. There was a bit of a crisis in the business, so I stepped into the head seat for a while, which was just such a huge, I went from like here to here real fast. And thankfully, she paid for a lot of coaching and training for me. So I was really fortunate to have a lot of direction from really smart people, and that helped a lot. So yeah, and then so now
you've
here I am.
Definitely done an apprenticeship then, hun, haven't you?
Oh yeah, but on the job, which is more my style. Yep. Like I'm not a classroom sitting girl. And it's funny because every single thing I know about marketing and business, I learned online in online courses, just like yours. And it's amazing because I work completely. I have my own company. I work for myself now. I have a full-time VA and a part-time VA, and I do. I run a handful of accounts and I coach, and it's great. I mean, I wouldn't. I was just talking about this with a friend of mine I was talking with his partner, and she said, yeah, not everyone's got the entrepreneurial spirit. And he walked in and said, yep, not me. And he's like, I love working for people. I just want to do my job and get a paycheck and come home. And I said, but he's such a great employee. He's really smart, and people like us need really great employees. So I think that's really personality based. Like I said to him, I keep saying to him, you're so smart. I could train you up. Like you could be an ads manager for sure. Like you come and work for me. But he's like, nah, I love just the stability. You know what I mean? So,
we're always like, what did Steve Jobs used to say? We're building the team. I'm recruiting. He was a master at that.
Yeah. And sometimes you find those people and they don't want to work for themselves. So it's like, great, come and work for me. I'll look after you. If you look after me, we're going to have a great relationship. And that works. I just don't want it. I just don't like not being the boss.
I think that's why everyone's here, right? Because we all want to be our own bosses, and you're either that way or you're not. And and either way is fine. I think it's just working out what works for you, and doing that. There is no right or wrong. It's working out, what do I need? What do I want? And sometimes you have to go exploring, what it is that you actually want to find that out. Sometimes you don't know straight away. So I want to actually ask one other thing too is, you've obviously gone into ads managers, and for listeners, don't worry, we're going to get into the nitty gritty ads in a minute. But how did you take this incredible creativeness? Because I'm like you, I'm a musician, and we got to have creative people have to have creative outlets. I still play and write, but you went and started a whole other platform with a podcast. Tell us about that, because that's definitely a beautiful creative outlet for you. I love it.
So I have a blog called Rebel Love, and it's about love, sex, and relationships. And the reason why, exactly right. The reason why I started that was because I broke up with my partner, and he was the love of my life. I feel like, and we broke up because I wanted to have kids and he didn't. He already had 2 children. And it was really interesting that time. And I wasn't angry at him. It was just a whole lot of sadness. It was just really, really sad. We just had different life paths. And so when I broke up with him, it was just, I had this huge gaping wound, and I needed to I said to my friend, I was like, I think I've really got a problem with letting go. And she looked at me and goes, I think everyone does. And I was like, well, why does nobody talk about it? Why does no one talk about it? It's so frustrating. And and when I looked up stuff online, all I could find was like top 10 ways to forget your ex. And I was just like, oh, this is such bullshit. Like I want like good
something
quality
real.
writing. Yeah, and I want like reflection and introspection from people who really put thought into their words. And so I started a blog about it. And at first it was going to be, I thought a lot about it, and I was like, well, I don't want, I started to come out of my funk, and I was like, I don't want this to be a doom and gloom blog. Like, I don't want it to be just like a poor me blog. So I was like, okay, well, let's talk about love, sex, and relationships, because it's also important to, value, and I just think that these relationships are so important. And that's why I called it Rebel Love, because the whole idea behind Rebel Love is you're rebelling against the norm. Like, for example, if you're in a relationship that is not working for you, most people, or maybe not most, a lot of people will stay because it's easier. But to rebel against that norm is to go, you know what? I value myself. I value you. Let's just separate.
Yes.
You do you. We've got one life. Let's just enjoy it, Let's go our separate ways in a respectful way. And that's really, really tough to do, right? Super tough. So that's why it's like, it's easier to stay, but to like put yourself first. So that's the whole idea behind it anyway. And so I have a blog and a podcast, and yeah, it's great. I really, really love it. It's a lot of work.
I'll get yeah, it is a lot of work, massive commitment, but I love that you've got that outlet for your creativity, and the fact that you're a kick-ass marketer, entrepreneurial woman doing your thing, but you've still made space in your life for projects that are philanthropic and that are meaningful, and that is an outlet of your creativity into the world. And that's why I wanted you to share about that. And we'll pop the links below to Talia's podcast so you can tune in. And she covers, there's no topic uncovered, seriously. So
and it is explicit,
some of it's not suitable for kids.
Yes, and if it is explicit, so if you're not comfortable with that, it may not be for you.
That's okay.
That's okay. Yeah,
Everyone can make their own choices.
Yeah.
But, I think in saying that, that's important to have that balance. Like, you can't just work all the time. You've got to find that space for you. And, my thing is, for years, I write now. That's my space.
Outlet.
And I'm a learner as well. I'm also a musician as well. But for me, having that space to play music and even write music and write content and things like that, and all that is my outlet. So it's very important. So thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. I just want to say as well, ads are really creative. I really liked ads because they are creative. And I started a psych degree, and I realized really quickly, which I was quite surprised about, I didn't really like the psych part, but I really excelled at stats, and I love stats. And that was such a surprise to me, because I was really bad at math at school. So I was like, oh, this is so weird. I love stats. I'm getting good grades. And so that's why, when I look at ads, it's really enjoyable. I mean, it's not the same, but it's, similar, like making a story out of the data, and then also creatives.
This is why accountants and bookkeepers actually do well when they get into marketing. This is one of the things that I say. Marketing, even though everyone thinks it's woo-woo and creative, is actually quite logical and is very data-driven.
Yeah.
And once you've got it's actually very system driven. We're going to get in and talk about methodology that Talia and I teach our clients, but it is very data driven. And then once you've got a system, then you can use creative pieces within that. And that's the thing. It's not like you're staring at a blank piece of paper going, I don't know what to do. So when you've got a system and a framework to operate within, and you've got step-by-step instructions, you're off and running. And so that's actually what we do within our program in the Bookkeeper Revolution program, and our marketing school, which we're just about to launch as well. So one of the things that I learned about on my journey of, I'm an accountant by trade, right? I moved into the world of marketing, and surprise, surprise, discovered I was actually quite good at it, and I really liked it, and I was able to have a place for my creative outlet. But because I'm a stickler for systems, right? When I first started doing it, I needed to have a system, so I knew that I had a checklist step by step, and I needed to find the most simple way of getting my message out there to get the right people in to my world so I could talk to them. And that experience is how I've come up with the methodology that we teach in here. And it really is the most simple methodology on Facebook, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy. And here's the thing, people, it's kind of like people want to make it more complex, but it's really not complex. But however, people think, oh, I'll just slap it up. I'm like, the students of yours that do the best are the ones that give it time and thought. And honestly, just listen to your program because you talk a lot about messaging.
Listen to both of us, right?
And when you talk about messaging, when you get to the module, the Facebook module, like you say, exactly in the lesson, you've done half of the work and really, really important work too. Right?
Yep. So, essentially, Talia, step us through. I know we before this call, we're going, let's talk about the methodology, but because I know Talia runs all of our coaching clinics with Facebook ads. We're very blessed to have you, and we so value and appreciate you. But
Thank
just
you.
give us a little bit of a rundown of what that methodology looks like from start to finish, like what the journey a student would take as they step through that.
Okay. First, before we do that, I'm just going to say, like, with ads, with any type of ad, Facebook ad particularly, there's 3 things that you really need to be aware of. The number one thing is your offer. What are you offering, and how are you packaging that? Now, I'm not going to go into that too much because sorry, go ahead.
Amen.
Yeah.
Preach, girl.
Yeah. Because I'm not going to. Yeah, exactly. Your offer, you've got to have that good offer. Like, if you don't have a good offer, forget about your ads working, right? The second thing is the audience. You've really got to, and I use this example. I just did a presentation and I use this example. If I'm selling a cat collar and I target people who have dogs or they don't have cats, do you think I'm going to sell many cat collars? I don't think so. So if you have the right offer to the wrong audience, it's not going to work. That's another thing.
That's called an offer to market mismatch.
Yes. And the third thing is your messaging. And when I say messaging, I mean copy and creative. And I'll talk about what that means. The copy is the writing in the ad, what you're actually saying, the message, how you're explaining your offer. And the creative, we use this word creative for, like, basically any bit of media that you put. So it can be an image or video. Those are the 2 things that it can be, image or a video. Or like a GIF, but that's kind of cloud included as well. So when we say creative, it encompasses them both. And when I say messaging, I'm talking about image included. That's part of the messaging. So those 3 things: offer, audience, and messaging. Really, really, really important. And if any of those are off, forget about the ads. The ads is just like the rocket ship carrying all that stuff and delivering it hopefully to the right people, right? But if you don't have those 3 things down, forget it. And that's why most of the work we teach in the program is before you even get to the ads. And that's why people, I find, get a little bit impatient. But the ones that put in the work, I remember I had a student who was going through your program, and she showed up to the call and she was like, and I was like, wow, you've really done a great job. I said, what did you do? And she goes, I just went through the program. And I think she was the only student who had been through it incredibly thoroughly, because I could tell when she showed up, I was like, and she was like, really like, oh, is it all right? And I'm like, you have nailed it. You have just nailed it. I can see you've listened to what Mel said. I can see you've looked at her example. I can see you've gone through the modules, because I can tell in your work. And, and her ads did really great from out the gate because she did that work. Whereas other people, sometimes they did do the work, they just didn't understand it as well. And then we had to tweak, and it took a little bit more time. We got there in the end. But anyway, let's just talk about this, and I'll talk about the other things that I think make the most successful students successful. We'll get back to that.
Love it.
So basically the methodology is those 3 things I was talking about. Mel helps you get your messaging right. Really super. I cannot state how important that is. And then we go, okay, what are you offering? So we have a lot of students who offer like a cash flow template, or they offer an ebook. Yep. And here's the thing, here's
mini courses are great at the moment as well. We're finding that mini courses by email work really good. Like, keep it simple. You don't have to go and invest in Teachable or Kajabi or any of that stuff. You just want to keep it simple.
Yep, keep it simple, exactly. And here's the thing, give the most valuable things away. Like, people make this ebook and they think it's really valuable, but it's just a sales pitch. Like, think about the things that you've read that you're like, you read it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, I can't believe this is free. That's how good you want your ebook to be. Yep. Give them all your secrets, because then what does that do? It builds They know you, they like you, they trust you. People buy from people they know, like, and trust. So
What
that's
it
what we want to
also
build.
does, it activates problems because you're not necessarily telling them how to do it. You're saying these are the steps you've got to take. Do this and do this and do this. Now, most people are going to get to something and go, man, I don't even know how to use QuickBooks Online, or how do I do a cash flow template? I've got this, but this is all really confusing. So you're giving them a solution, but what it is that most people need help with is the how, right? And then they may either want to get the how and go do it themselves, or they might just go, you know what? I didn't go into business to be a bookkeeper, right? I just want someone to look after it.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
honestly,
the purpose of the lead magnet. Yeah.
Yep. And great bookkeepers are worth their weight in gold, because, like, I'm a business owner and I will pay. I do not like doing, like, I've just started doing my books now because my bookkeeper, who's also my best friend, just got another job and she can't do it anymore. And so she's training me now, only so I can be more on top of it and see what's happening more in my company. That's the reason. Not because I love it. Like, every time I do it, it reaffirms to me that I hate this job.
I have to share this one thing. Talia actually came and stayed with me for a week or so before this lockdown, and we'd had a few glasses of wine. I said, I'll teach you how to reconcile in Xero. And she did really well, but you went, oh, gee, damn, I know why, we need bookkeepers, because I don't want to do this.
No, I do not want to do this. I mean, it was great to see it, and I love Xero. Xero is a great piece of software,
Yeah,
but
I love Xero too.
Yeah, but I don't want to, generally. Anyway,
if you're listening to this, I think she loves you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she's great. Well, yeah. So now we've got a good new system, right? But here's the thing: I trust her. I trust her, because here's the other thing. I don't know what it's like in the States, but in Australia, I don't know, a bookkeeper is different to an accountant. But if my accountant makes a mistake, I'm liable, not my accountant. So, and I just think that's kind of a bit nuts, really, isn't it? Because don't I hire them because they know more than me? But that's not the law. So I have to be somewhat on top of it. And I think that's important for people to know. So that might even be an angle. So when we write our messaging on our ads, we have angles. So we go, okay, let's say that I'm your target audience. You're targeting small business owners like me. What are the pain points that you are going to kind of persuade me with, if you like? Like, one of those pain points might be, did you know that if your accountant makes a mistake, you're liable, not them?
Ooh, that's a big one.
That's a good one.
Good
Some people might not know that. I don't know how they wouldn't know that, but they might not know that. Or here's the thing, they might know it, but not really think about the implications of it. So, like, do you really trust your accountant, your bookkeeper? If you've got a really good bookkeeper, you can trust them, and then you can just give it to your accountant. Like, I trust my accountant now. And I actually say this to the students in the clinic all the time. My accountant pursued me. I called 3 accountants. 2 of them didn't even call me back.
Follow up.
My accountant, like, hunted me down. Like, he kept following it. He said to me, he goes, Talia, come in and let's have an hour, a meeting, and I'll run through some stuff. And you know what I said to him? I don't want to come in. I don't want to come and see you. And he goes, trust me, it'll be worth your time. And I was like, all right, I'll come in. Like, he convinced me. And
follow up.
Yeah, he gave me this presentation, and I liked it. He got me to know him. He got me to like him. He got me to trust him. And here's the thing, he gave me a really good service up front for free, and now he's my accountant, and I pay him a monthly price or wage, or whatever you call it, like a monthly fee. But he keeps that level of service. Like, he's been consistent. So that's good. Because if he didn't, like, he's always in the music business, you always say you're only as good as your last gig. You're only as good as your last gig. So if you're not consistently doing a great job and you're a freelancer, that's why I've always been like, I've never had a full-time job. I've always liked being freelancer, because I'm like, you're only as good as your last gig. It's that music thing, you've got to keep doing that good job, and that's what keeps you there.
So that messaging part, and for those of you that are listening to, you're probably thinking, oh, that's a lot of work. And it is a lot of work, but this is one of the things that we actually spend almost the first half of our marketing school on, like 6 weeks of planning and getting all of this right and step by step, because that's kind of my superpower, I would say. That's what I'm really passionate about and help people get unstuck with. And the thing
Yep.
is, once you get that right and you really understand your problems that you can solve for your clients, and you know that you're getting clients and you're testing it organically, the hypothesis is that if you then put that message with some guts behind it and show it to a larger platform, then you're going to have a wider audience and greater numbers of people of responding. And that's potentially what the Facebook platform is. I mean, there's other platforms you can use like YouTube and Google display ads and things like that as well. But we focus mainly on the Facebook platform here.
Yeah.
So getting back to that methodology, so we've kind of got, what do you see is the next step that students take from there? And I'd love you to step through some of the students that have actually got some really great results and how they did it.
So I'll go through, so how we do it then. So we get the messaging right, we get the ad right, we get the offer right. We help you create the audience, which like Mel said is work, but it's really valuable work. And like anything in life, once you do it once, it takes long the first time, like a long time. But then the second time you're like, oh, this is not so bad, you know? And then you put it in an ad. And now the ad, what happens is you put it in an ad that opens on a phone. Now I've got a picture of myself there. But opens on the phone, if you can see, and it's a form on the phone. So it opens on a form on the phone, and then you fill in your details, and then you click the button, and then a little thing comes up and goes, hey, thanks, Mel. Thanks for downloading my ebook. If you'd like to book a call with me, and then you say it better than this, like I'm just giving you very not great messaging right now. Yeah, the overall gist of it. You'd say, if you want to book a call with me to kind of skip the line and get ahead of the others in your game, you can feel free to book a call here. And then they can book in with you. But more, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to book a call. And what you're going to do is, because you have their numbers, you're going to follow up with them. Exactly what we were just talking about, what my accountant did.
Yep.
And you're going to hunt them down like my accountant hunted me down. You're going to keep following up with them. And that is so.
And you're going to email them too.
You email them too. Yeah. You're going to get around them, surround them with your marketing.
With automation. We have automation to do that. We love active campaigns. So you don't have to go and send emails. We have a full sequence that's designed around, the lead magnet. If it's a mini training, we teach you how to send out, training in that. So once that client comes in, they're opting in, right? You're getting their details, they're getting nurtured through the emails. But what you did say, Talia, is really important, is following those people up and calling
so
them.
important. So important. Because it's important to know that the ads that we teach in the program, they're called lead ads. And so what it is it's not a sale ad. It's got a very specific name because it's a lead ad, and it brings you in a lead, and the mechanism for the sale is you. So you're going to call them. And this is the difference, in my opinion, of the most successful students in your program and the ones that don't. The ones that have a problem with that, I say, if you're not going to call them, don't even run ads. Just don't bother, because you're basically putting your money over the toilet and flushing it down the toilet. And so here, I'm going to tell her, can I name names of successful students?
Yeah, before we jump into that, I just want to preface one thing. The methodology that we're talking about here is one of the most basic forms of getting yourself out there on Facebook, apart from boosting posts, right? But the reason why we do it this way is because there is no complex technology involved.
Yep.
And it is usually getting cheaper cost leads. It's a great way to test the market that your message is actually working without going and having to spend a few $1,000s on ads and going, oh, I hope it works type of thing.
Yep.
And so there's a lot of other people and programs and coaches out there that will talk about, no, you've got to have a funnel. You've got to, click funnels, and you've got to have a webinar or a VSL and all of that sort of stuff. And it all gets very complex. So here's the thing. Why would you bother to do that and spend all that time and money if you haven't tested it first? I'm not saying there's not a place for that. But the thing is, if you're getting these leads in and you're actively calling people, and sometimes people do book calls from this, why would you need to go to all of that extensive marketing stuff, right? Unless you're a larger firm, and we find that larger firms will want to use that strategy because they, the owners of the firm are busy running the business. But for sole operators that want to start getting some leads, right, you might be starting out or you're simply, in a business going, I need another 10 clients, right? This is just a really simple, easy, cost-effective way once you get it up and running, you test it, literally you can switch on and off as you need to.
Exactly. And I want to just speak a little bit more to that. And I think this is a really, really important piece, is when you are calling those people, not only are you potentially getting clients, but you're getting probably the most valuable part of the education from Mel's program. And this is the part that I think that people really struggle with, because the most successful students, and I've got one particular one in mind, I remember you telling me, Mel, when you use this methodology for yourself to grow your own business, Mel said, that's where I got my degree in sales.
Oh, yeah.
When I just was calling
2,500 sales calls later.
Yeah. And you said that's where I learned to nail it down. I just did the work. And that's the thing. It's like, and I cite this poem so much. It's like that book, Going on a Bear Hunt. You can't go over it. You can't go around it. You've got to go. You've got to go through it, right? You've got to go through it. And like anything in life, that's where the learning is. It's like having a baby. You can't just skip all the parts where you have to get up at night and look after the baby and feed the baby and clean the baby. You've got to go through it, right? If you want to get all the parts where you can have the great conversations with the kids and do all the fun stuff, you've got to go through that hard bit. And it's the same with this. You've got to go through this bit. And one of our students, Sawani, when she first came to us, she was doing the Facebook ads. She did the messaging. We tested it. And you know what happened? Her ads flopped. So you know what she did? And this is where a lot of students give up. She came back. She listened to every single thing I said. And I was like, I don't think I've ever had anyone listen to me so carefully.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. She went and she did it again. We said, we have to redo all your messaging. This is not resonating. Something's not working. Remember how we said if we missed that piece, it doesn't work? It wasn't working. She came back, she rewrote it. And I noticed a difference as well in her copy. She got help from the coaches. She'd send it into the coaches, which is part of the program. You can send it in, you can get feedback. She kept doing it. She kept tweaking, sending it to the coaches, tweaking it, sending it to the coaches. She brought it to me. We tested her ads. Finally, after about 2 months or 3 months of back and forth trying this, first of all, she didn't give up. And then second of all, we finally started getting leads. And then what she did, then she had to call them. So then she was like, okay, great. I'm going to call them. I did this. And then she would call them. And I said to her, what about, I've just heard this sales strategy. What about if you can call them sooner? Because what happens sometimes is people say, oh, I don't remember that, or I don't remember filling in that. And we talk about that, why that happens more in the program. But then I said, well, why don't you test calling them within 5 minutes of them filling out the form? So you know what she did? She called them within 5 minutes of filling out the form. And she is just relentless. She'd call each one. She'd just put it in their diary. She has someone that she said she called him in, I think, January, and he said he was just getting out of surgery. She goes, oh, no worries. I'm really sorry. Can I call you back another day? He goes, I'd love that. Call me back in a month. She put it in her diary. She called him back in a month. Then he called her and he's like, oh, I'm just doing this. I'm really busy right now. I can't really do this. Can you call me back in 3 months? No worries. Put it in my diary. Call me back in 3 months. This keeps going on. Every time she calls, he's busy, pushes her back. 6 months later, she gets on a call with him. And he's like, thank you so much. You're being really persistent. This is great. They have an hour-long conversation. She finds out he's got 4 businesses that he may need a bookkeeper for. Yeah. So then he pushes her back again one more time. And then I haven't heard the rest of the story yet. And then she's like, what an anticlimax. And then she's calling him back again. But now he knows her. He's starting to trust her. He's got this relationship. If she lands that deal, that's 4 clients she's got. 4 clients like that, just for making 6 phone calls.
I want to add one thing here. Sawani is the most beautiful, gentle, softly spoken woman. English is not her first language.
Nope. English is not her first. She's got quite thick accent, actually.
And she has just put in a system and she's followed it and she's done the work. Most follow-ups or sales take 5 touch points, 5, before someone will do something. And so most people give up before then and they miss the opportunity. And guess what? The other bird gets the worm, right?
Yep, there is the client.
So if you've spent money to acquire a lead and it's not just cash, this could be you took time out of your day to go to a networking event. and you got people's business cards, if you do not follow up, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, totally. If you
Yep.
want things that other people have, then you have to be willing to do the things that other people don't want to do. And here's the thing, like Sawani now has 7 clients from the program. All of the clients are from Facebook ads. All of them are from Facebook ads. And you know what I think Sawani's got that it's even more valuable than those 7 clients with recurring revenue is now she's got a system. She knows now how to run ads. And by the way, I just want to mention, she also came to every single clinic. Not many students come to every single clinic. Every single clinic, she's there. How can you make my ads better? How can you help me? What do you think of this? Let's refine this process. She is relentless. She's very smart, and it's been her attitude and her relentlessness in never giving up that's got her this far. 7 clients and counting. She's still going. She sets goals for herself and then she smashes them. But I think the most valuable thing she's got from the program is that mechanism, is that now she knows how to fish. She knows how to fish for the rest of her life. Me and Mel were even joking around the other day saying, wouldn't it be great if you could just get Sawani to start like a call center and she could be the one, everyone would just pay her to do it.
She's amazing. So, I think it's the selling part of it. And this is what I always say, and we're going to round up in a minute, is marketing is just sales at scale. It really is. And it's learning how to sell, right? And that comes right back to your offer and your message. That it all stems from that. One of the things that we teach in our marketing school is that first part of work we do is one simple sheet. It's where we nut out your offer to market. That one sheet I use in my own business, and I still use it now and I add to it. When I'm thinking about how do I want to talk to my audience, I go back to that sheet and I go, I've got about 7 specific topics, and I grab one and then I'll think about something, a different way to say it, but it's always based around those core topics. And so that's part of the system too. So you have a system to actually think about, well, what are you going to say? So I'm going to round up because we've gone over. I think you and I could talk for hours, and I think we might have to do a monthly chat. I think, Talia.
Yeah, sweet.
I want to thank you so much, from my heart to yours, for all of your beautiful knowledge and energy that you put into our students. Like, thank you. And it's amazing just to see your journey and your growth as a kick-ass entrepreneurial woman. And I just know there's going to be more adventures and great things to come for you. So thank you so much for spending some time with us today. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, Mel. It's been a pleasure. It's so great working with you and your students.
We are launching another intake of our marketing school. Our marketing school, we run them 4 times a year. It's 12 weeks. It's not a program. This is structured coaching that you turn up for. Every week you get homework and you got to do the work and you got to implement, right? So if you're interested in finding out more about that, come into the Facebook group under the guides section. We're going to be putting this little live stream here. I'm also going to be releasing some Facebook content in there to get you started and get you thinking, and so you can have a little taste of what marketing school's like. So watch out for that. I'll be popping Talia's podcast link. You want to tune into that. Fun. So big love, and we will get you on the show again soon.
Thanks, Mel. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, honey.